Flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, Lingo track update.
Appreciate you guys having us here today and for the continued projects you get to work on with your teams. Want to give you just a brief update of where we are on the track, and so I'll give you a schedule update and then we'll go through some photos. And so right now we've completed almost everything except for the track surface itself, and so we've made that preparation. We've been waiting the time allotment that we essentially have to wait between the asphalt going down and the track surface. And so right now we're scheduled for delivery middle of next week for the track surface itself. It comes in a few semis, and then they'll start laying that down. And so we're expecting about 2 weeks of physical time to lay it down when they get started. So during that time, we'll be looking for some good dry weather. The wetness will be essentially the thing that prohibits us, and then just, good cure times as far as wind and things like that. So after that, we are anticipating probably a little bit of landscape that's going to have to occur just to repair maybe some ruts and things from where they're accessing the track with the large equipment. So right now our plan is to access everything from the back side, kind of over on the back by the softball field. And so that'll be where that disruption is. So it won't be out in the public side, but there will probably be some things we have to take care of after that. Just kind of give you a brief overview of everything that we've touched out there. So we've recently recentered the bleachers and press box, and so these are now centered on the field on the 50-yard line, which is good. We're putting up new fencing around that right now, and then what you'll see also in these kind of photos is the added sidewalk spaces that you'll have around the bleacher itself. So because we moved the bleacher to the west, you get about 30 feet more on the east of sidewalk space, but then with the new design we actually put more on the west as well, so you'll have that kind of flexibility to move things around, set up more chairs on the side and things like that. You'll also notice here the fencing that's being installed, so you'll have a nice barrier between you and the field itself. In this photo you can see the track surface and the concrete curbs that are on each side. So essentially this is the preparation that'll be underneath the track surface once we get done. You see the goalposts in the back, so those are new goalposts that we've set on the field as well. This will be on the west side of the bleachers, and so again, added concrete space over there. We also have sidewalks that now connect to the locker room facility that's there on the west side, so make it a little bit easier to maintain that area throughout its life. This is just looking across the field itself. The grass that we planted on the infield has taken in. Adam's done a great job of maintaining and really making that blend in well, and so most of the grass that's on the infield, you really can't even tell the difference. The stuff that's on the outside of the track that doesn't get irrigated every day is coming in well though, but the heat right now is something we have to maintain the water on to make sure it stays active. So like I said, we're about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks roughly, and we'll have the track surface itself complete. Right now, outside of the track surface, the only things that are missing are the gates. Those gates are supposed to be installed tomorrow. So if they get installed tomorrow, we'll be wrapped up with all of those items on that. So from a budget standpoint, we had the one increase I think we did in June where we changed the width of the track and adjusted some of that to kind of meet the requirements. But outside of that, we have had some areas where we found where we needed to do a little bit of additional work. So we added some drainage, we added some irrigation, we added a little bit more concrete and electrical work that we had to do. But what we've been able to do is actually save the landscaping side. So right now we're projecting no change or actually a deduct to the current contract that we have. And so that's not the original, but that's the current contract that we have. And so I'll probably be back next month once we get all the track surfaces installed and be able to present that deduct back to you guys. Any questions?
When we moved the bleachers over, what was the condition of the space where the bleachers were at? Is that in good shape? Are there things that need to be done with that where some things might have been torn up?
So the way it was anchored down, the anchors are in the concrete. We weren't able to extract all of those. There are some areas that have cracks, but overall it's pretty maintained. The fence posts, when we took those out, we did try to clean those holes and we regrouted those up flush. And so you will see filled in spots, but overall it's a pretty manageable area. If you wanted to replace that in the future, I mean, it would be easy to essentially break and pour new slab, but I think it provides a pretty good service.
Okay. And then I know there was some conversation about, without the track being there, at some places water was kind of, settling in places. Is that something we've looked at as far as once the track surface actually is there,
Okay.
is the flow off going to be okay?
Yeah, so we ended up adding some French drain, about 160 foot of French drain. That's coming this next weekend. Essentially, they're going to install that. But they're supposed to do it yesterday with the rains. They decided not to. But we'll add in some French drain, which will help a lot of drainage that's on the west side of the track, right near the high jump, which is kind of where the ponding's occurring. Essentially, what's happening is the field's higher than the high jump, and we don't have adequate drainage around the high jump surface itself. And so this French drain will be able to pull the water off faster, be able to allow it to dry. The areas where we were seeing ponding was due to the fact that the surface inlays underneath the concrete curbs that are there. And so there's a half-inch lip right now all the way around the asphalt to concrete surface. That gets infilled with the track. And so that'll make all the water flow off the track. The key will be right now is we have to make sure it has a place to go. And so that 160 foot of French drain identifies the main area of concern where we know right now it does not have a place to go.
Yeah, very good.
Was that primarily right in front of the indoor area?
No, it was hard to see in that photo, but essentially right in front of the hydrant, right around that west field goal line is where we see the biggest area of ponding that occurs. On the against the practice facility over there, we did add a lot of concrete that went up to the building in some areas where we didn't have grass growing because of lack of sun, really. And so we were able to address some of that. Should help in that area. I guess yet to see over time if we need to add more, we can to help us get to that. But I do believe we've taken care of a lot of the issues that were on that side. And then the ones on the west, I think this French drain will take care of.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Again, I just want to say thank you for Troy Roads and us. We appreciate the opportunity to work on those projects. So, thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Item 4, Mr. Mont's facility update.
Thank you guys for having me. I spoke yesterday at the back to school breakfast on a lot of the things that we've done over the summer, and I want to thank the board personally for approving a lot of those projects. So over the summer we've done a lot of capital projects. We did 12 HVAC units in the 4th and 5th grade hallway. Those were 20 to 25-year-old units that were completely replaced. We replaced 9 rooms of carpet, mostly in the elementary school. I think we did 1 in the middle school and 1 in the high school. The elementary kids are hard on carpet, aren't they? A lot of work on the transportation side with 1 new people mover, well, new to us anyway. 1 new people mover, 1 new bus, and 2 trucks, 1 for security, Glenn Holcomb, and then 1 for maintenance to replace one of ours that I believe is close to 20 years old as well. And then I'm excited about our new custodial provider. They started on July 1st and they came in with their bat swinging and took care of all of the waxing and all of the detail cleaning, and so far they've been fantastic. I've been really happy with them. I gave a shout out to the guys that I worked with yesterday, Jamie, Mike, and Roger. They've done a fantastic job, just work order after work order after work order to get ready for Thursday. So that's the update on facilities. Pretty short, pretty sweet. You guys have any questions?
Everything looks
You're gonna
great.
make it easier for me.
Pardon?
Thank you, guys.
Item 5, Elementary Incentive Program, presented by Ms. Chavez.
And it's actually not just me, it is also some of the teachers who have worked alongside just dreaming. And so Mr. Forster is going to get it prepared for us. But with this, it is the Bronco Best Days proposal. And so with this, our teachers, some of whom are trying to hide, but they, for years we've talked about, what are our initiatives, what are our campus initiatives, our district initiatives, and a lot of that is focused on we want kids here at school, we want them to prioritize being here, we want them to put forth their best effort. And so with that, one of the conversations has been, but what can we do to motivate them? What does that look like? And so we've done different things. Last year we did the Day of Awesomeness, which was one day at the end of the year. And we did reminders and really opened that conversation with parents of what does this look like? Why does attendance matter? What are ways we can just help your kids be here? And so from that, they were dreaming and saying, but what more can we do? Because we did see some benefit to that, but we have very creative people on our staff. And so I'm going to let them take it away. And I'm going to shut this door because I know we're going to have some more middle school parent nights.
So I'm Ashley Dotterman. I'm the middle school elementary librarian, if you don't know me. I think I've had an interaction with all of you in some way, shape, or form. And this kind of started this summer. We'd seen our Day of Awesomeness and how it kind of fleshed out. And in theory, it was great. In practice, we had a couple struggles, and I was trying to think of how we could make this better. We have lots of great ideas, but we're always looking for ways to be better. And so I came up with and consulted with my think tank, and we've come up with Bronco Best Days. So how this would change from our Day of Awesomeness to reward students is instead of one day at the end of the year where they're having to go an entire school year to earn this reward, is at the end of each quarter, they could earn a chance to have the day off the last day of the quarter. So we've got shorter goals for them to reach. It's more appropriate for our younger kids. A whole year goal is a really hard thing for them to understand and to grasp. So we tried to break it down into smaller chunks for them to understand. So students would have the opportunity to earn this 4 times a year. It wouldn't just be one. And then any students that didn't earn it would have that last day of the quarter. They would be coming for focused intervention, teaching, instruction in small groups. Students who earned the exemption, but maybe parents don't have childcare provided, or they still just want to come to school, are still welcome to come to school. We're not going to say you can't come to school. They would be more than welcome to come, and they would still partake in those activities. They would still be doing some focused interventions. They would have target supports and small groups for them, and quarterly instead of annually, like I said. Why are we doing this? Why are we even thinking about it? It's because of our chronic absenteeism. We know that's a district priority. We want our students in school. When they're not in school, they're missing chronic instruction that they need, and this is a way to kind of help address that and try and get them an incentive to be in school. Why do they care about it as a student versus just their parents wanting them in school? This will also help increase academic accountability, because for our older students, that will be part of the requirement, is having work completed. And then it also aligns with our secondary practices of they're earning their exemptions for semesters, which makes sense for them, but this would also help prepare our students for that as they move into middle school and high school. So our requirements.
I'm gonna have to scooch a little forward. So the student requirements, she touched on a few of them, but we would separate it into the lower grade levels and the upper grade levels. And part of that comes down to how grades are done in those lower grade levels and then in the upper grade levels. So pre-K through 2nd grade, the requirements would be a maximum of 3 absences, and that would go along with some of the secondary, how they're doing it in secondary this year. And then 5 tardies per quarter. And then when it comes to absences as well, of course there's going to be different exceptions we have to look at if a student has a chronic illness or something going on where they can't help but be gone for those. That would be a case-by-case thing that we would look at. And then meeting behavioral expectations. And then 3rd through 5th grade would be a maximum of 3 absences and 5 tardies per quarter. And we would also add in the academic accountability, no missing assignments and infinite campus at all. And so since the 3rd through 5th grade uses infinite campus in that way, that's easy for them to track and easy for parents to see and kids to see as well. And then it meets the they have to meet the behavioral expectations as well.
So this gives us just a couple of things to look at for measurable goals and outcomes. When it comes to absenteeism for kids, we've got parent accountability that comes through the office. They get letters, they get phone calls, but what we needed was something that gets the kids, right? And for those of us that have older kids, I have a sophomore and a 7th grader, and they're already planning out their absences for the year. My sophomore refused to take a driver's ed class because it would mean that she'd miss the first 2 hours of school. And Mom, I've already got a wedding I have to go to, that's 2 days, and then I've got a volleyball tournament I want to go to, and then I've got a church youth group trip, and that's too many absences. And so what we needed for our younger kids was for them to have some skin in the game too. For them to say, I have a headache, but I still want to be at school. So we're not asking parents to send sick kids to school, but you know, you get those days where your kids just don't want to roll out of bed. You know, you're dragging your kid to school, and maybe this would give them something to work towards. Also, most of our younger kids have older siblings, and my 9-year-old, there's weeping and gnashing of teeth every year when the girls get to stay home and he doesn't. And so this gives him something to look forward that's just like the big kids. And so that's our very most prevalent goal here, is getting kids to care about being at school just as much as their parents and their teachers do. And this hopefully will hit the chronic absenteeism. It increases assignment completion percentages. Most of us in upper grades already do something similar with the Fun Friday. They miss a recess and they get to stay in and work with their teacher on anything that's missing. The way this would be even better than that is if you've got kids with tons and tons of missing assignments. Typically what happens is that I make a stack, however big it ends up being, and I just send it home. And sometimes there's parents there to help, and sometimes there's not. And so for this way of handling things, then I'm the one who assigned it, I know what you should be doing, I get to be there to help get through the end of that stack of papers. It also improves behavioral consistency because that, again, is a little bit of skin in the game, and it helps prepare students for what they know is coming with secondary education. So for students, we know that it gives them clear goals at the end of each quarter. Teachers, it allows us some one-on-one time with kids, or not one-on-one, but small on-one time to help things get caught up. For younger grades, those teachers talked about being able to pull small groups and working more definitely one-on-one with kids that are missing skills because of chronic absenteeism. They're just not here to hear it. And so younger grades, it's a whole lot harder for parents to help because most of us don't know what that diphthong or whatever that is means. And so getting them here to work with their teacher is super important. For families, it gives predictable schedule. It also gives you that carrot to dangle. You can stay in bed, but you're gonna miss out on your exemption day. That's nice. And then for the district, it addresses the attendance concerns, and it's also a proactive behavior intervention, or attendance and academic intervention, instead of just constantly poking at kids that are behind. It gives us something that we can hopefully get them before they're behind, if that makes sense.
So obviously we need to know if people are interested in this or not as families, and so we sent out a brief survey asking if families are interested in something like this, because sometimes you think you have the best idea in the world, and when you send it out there, they're like, no, that's not it. So as you can see, we sent it out to all of last year's pre-K through 4th grade families. We got 163 responses. Overwhelmingly, they said, yes, that sounds like something we're interested in. Now, they didn't have every single detail, but we did give them the dates, and we basically generally explained the goal of the program. And so even I have personally had some conversations with people that said, I voted no. And I said, well, tell me why. And they said, well, I mean, we can't, we work. And I said, but you can still send them to school. And they're like, oh, I would have voted yes. I'm like, okay, well, you didn't read carefully, that was in there. But I mean, I have had many conversations with people that are like, this really sounds awesome, because I feel like we have a lot of absences that often tie to older siblings having exemptions, and so a family goes ahead and goes on a trip. And I feel like this is kind of the little missing piece where parents are having to make that hard decision of, oh, well, you're just gonna have to take take an unexcused absence because we booked this trip, you know. So it seems like we have really great support.
So with all of that, what questions do you have? What are your thoughts of how we would like to support our campus?
And I'll add to that before you ask questions. This isn't a voting item. This is just something to ask questions, get feedback as they're thinking about this and this idea. Just want to see if you guys have any questions about this, but it wouldn't be an action item. It'd just be something that they want your feedback on. So.
I have a question. So why didn't what happened with the Day of Awesomeness? Why change that? I don't really know what that is, but.
What we did was there was a movie day we broke it up into two parts. The younger kids, K through 2, were in the morning. 3rd through 5th were in the afternoon. And then depending on number of absences, students were allowed an additional reward. So if we met the school-wide goal, we got the Day of Awesomeness. And then, so let's say your kid only missed like 2 absences. They got to wear pajamas, a fuzzy friend, and then a hat. So they could add extras onto it. It ended up being, by the time we got to it, the kids were really restless. It's the end of the year. It was harder on teachers. So this was also kids didn't understand why they were really getting it. Well, so-and-so missed so many days, but they're still here because they didn't understand it was tied to the whole school getting it. So our thought and our goal here is to make it more individualized for students. Like Kim said, they have some skin in the game on this. Okay, if you're here these days, you get this reward. If you're not here for whatever reason, then you're coming to school that day, or you're still coming if mom and dad say you're coming. So trying to make it more understandable for them and more attainable, and for them to really get the importance of it.
Was there any consideration into doing the Day of Awesomeness quarterly instead of, breaking it out, making those, it was mentioned short-term goals, and so was there any thought to that?
We did think about it, yes, but we really didn't feel like it was the best reward necessarily for our students. We tried it and it was okay, but we feel like this would give them more of an incentive to be at school, to earn that reward of being out that last day if they chose to. So we felt like this would, go ahead.
Well, I feel like it's something also different than PTO rewards, than Fuzzy Friend Day we do at school sometimes that they can pay for. I mean, just so some of those things were things that they get to do throughout the year, or that it gives this something different. It sets it apart, since that's one of the big things we're working on is attendance, chronic absenteeism.
Ms. Chavez, from a chronic absenteeism standpoint, what does that look like at the elementary school? What is that
like
percentage?
Our percentage rate. So that's one of our goals of that we were getting closer to. So our goal was to hit the 95% mark. We had been just shy of that the past few years. And so I don't have the final report from what the state deemed our score was. But we are in the 90s, but we still have pockets of families who we were calling, practically begging, saying, we need your kid here. Like when we were getting to the last month, and we're realizing, okay, they've still been taking a couple more absences. And so I don't have our final state number for this past school year. However, the past few years, we've been just shy and just under that 95% mark.
And what's your enrollment numbers?
We average, I always estimate around 775. It's anywhere between 750 to 775.
So if you're 800, if you're 800, we've got 5%. We've got 40 kids. Is that right?
Yes.
My
mental math at this time of night is not quite tracking.
Spread over
that would be 40.
6th grade.
Yeah, that would be 40.
There we go. I was thinking maybe someone would help us out.
5% of 100 is 5, and you've got 8 5s, so 40.
Spread out over 6th grades. Right, 40 kids spread out over 6 grades.
6th grade.
Right, because it's pre-K. It includes pre-K. A question I had was, when my kids were in pre-K and kindergarten and 1st grade and 2nd grade, I don't even know if they knew like what an absence was. I mean, I don't think they had a sense of when school ended or began, or, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I get the buy-in for grade 3 through, I mean, you know, they're starting to have a little more awareness of life in grade 3 through 5. But, you know, pre-K and kindergarten and first and second grade, isn't that really just kind of a parent thing?
I will tell you it can be seen that way. I think it helps because we have a lot of conversations with our parents. Like she said, we send letters, we do phone calls. We really have been working over the past, I would say 3 to 4 years. We've been looking at working with parents and partnering and helping them realize how important education and having their kids here, and that yes, it's a day, but it is still a day of missed instruction. And so that's been a lot of our conversation. And so that's partially why, yes, this is also to try and help the parents, because some of the parents are at a place where they are struggling to get their kids to want to come. And yes, some of that is their older students, but it's also, like they said, trying to help the parents have something in their tool belt to be able to motivate as well. I know some of us, I probably have the youngest, you as well. I will say my son is very aware of like, hey, do we have school today or not? And so when you are able to say those things, it is an active conversation. And so I'm not sure, he is not one to try and say like, I just want to miss school, but he is one who will ask, do we have school today? And so I think that is a conversation for them, but it is also something to try, because we just have a lot of parents who have commented that they are calling in saying, I can't get them to want to come. And so we try our best. If they get them to the school, we do everything we can to try and help out of cars and all that, but some are just saying it's not worth the fight. So this is trying to also help give them something to motivate as well.
And can I add I'm a first grade teacher, and so one of the big things too is tardies. And we do phonics first thing in the morning, we have interventions first thing in the morning, and so one of the other parts is the tardies.
Yeah.
And trying to cut down on those, because we have kids that'll come, at 8:30 even, or 9 o'clock, and they've missed a huge chunk of phonics and reading and Heggerty and maybe their intervention group. And so they're not getting that and missing really important things during the day, because we try to start those when they're most fresh.
And
So.
when you look at the kids that are chronically absent, it's interesting to try to find a correlation between the ones that are below benchmark too. And so typically those kids have a struggle getting to school because of their parents. And so then I can't send stuff home for those parents to also do with them. So it gives them something to hang over their kid, and it gives their kid something to look forward to. But it also gives us a way to target that population that is just missing too much instruction.
Yeah.
So,
And I will say over the years we have tried different things of lunch detention for kids who have tardies, or we did morning detention to try and be like, okay, parents aren't getting here earlier, maybe this, realizing, oh no, now I have to bring them, and the number of times we would get stood up, or that kids would have lunch detention and they don't understand the concept, kind of like you said, like penalizing students for their parents not getting there, because a lot of our kids, we know, are transfers. That did not feel right as an adult. And so that's why we've kind of shifted our focus and want to try and have another way
It's kind of a
to
reward
target that.
instead of
Instead of just punitive.
Yeah, and like the Day of Awesomeness, I know it was probably awesome. But if you didn't get to bring your furry friend because you had, I like this better because you get sort of a reward rather than I compared to the guy next to me. He's got his furry friend, but I don't have mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just go to school.
Yeah.
And you realize nobody else is there, or whoever else is there. That did the trick for my kids in later years.
I like this for several reasons, but I like that it's quarterly, because if, let's say, a kid's he doesn't really care about it because it still feels far off. When I was a kid, if I had a friend that was gone and he got to stay at home because he was there, next time I was gonna work hard to do that. And then secondly, it does reward those that are there, but then the folks maybe that need a little bit of extra help, they can get that focused, if I'm understanding correctly, they can get that focused attention that maybe they're missing when everybody else is there. So.
Because those ones who are tardy or who are absent over and over again and are at school that day with us, I mean, that excites me to have
smaller group time where it's not a whole classroom full of kids that I'm working with, but it is pointed, meeting their needs and the things that they miss, so.
Well, I was going to say the same thing. I appreciate you bringing up the tardies because in some ways tardies are more impactful to the whole classroom when a student comes in an hour late and now you as a teacher kind of have to stop the whole class, get them caught up on what's going on, and that's disruptive to everybody. But I do know we've had a challenge over the years where that just doesn't seem to be a point of emphasis for some parents, you know, to make sure that they're on time or even 15 minutes early. We'd love that. But so I love that, and then also kind of that connection that both of you made, which is at the quarter, if you have the students who are behind because they've missed some school, they you know, maybe didn't do their schoolwork and things like that. Now, as I understand, you have time to work with 5, 10 kids instead of the whole class on skills they missed along the way because of their circumstance. And I think that could be very impactful as a teacher to be able to say, okay, and also we're talking about essential standards, we're talking about those things every quarter that we need our kids to learn. We know statistically these are the kids that haven't gotten those things. So to have that time, you know, more isolated with them to be able to say, okay, we're going to get this. This is going to be where your light bulb comes on, and so you can move forward for the next quarter instead of waiting to the end of the year. Well, it's all too late at that point, you know. I mean, they're going to summer break, so I do like that part about it as well.
I noticed on here the district priority app chronic absenteeism is listed on here. But there's a lot going on with that right now. Dr. Bellows, you want to share with us what you know as far as what's the state doing with that right now?
Yeah. So chronic absenteeism has been a measure on state report cards. Essentially for us, it's about 17 days of absences for a student across the state. And I would say since COVID, there's significant differences that just we have not been able to recover from. And I do think there was a shift in parent thought, parent philosophy. I can't put all my finger on it, but there's been a shift, and we have not been able to, and I say we, public educators, school have not been able to figure out how to make that shift with parents to encourage. It is so important for your kids to be at school every day. We know as educators, if you have a 5-day week and you miss the first day, these lessons are scaffolding, and so you've missed a huge piece of what now. Because we have good educators, they figure out ways to work around that and get them caught up, but it is different if they're missing days here and there, and just one day a week makes such a big difference. We have struggled since COVID to get parents to understand it is important for them to be here every day they can possibly be here, and I think, you know, some kind of reward like this that shows this is how important it is to us. Your kids can earn a day. Now with that, this has been a part of school report cards in the past. Just recently, that is going to now not be a direct part of the school report card. It'll be a bonus kind of point to the report card. So it will still impact it, but it is going to be a little bit different than it has been in the past where it was a specific criteria as part of your grade. So I think that's a good shift. But beyond report cards, which is, you know, I mean, it's important, we want good report cards, but what we really want is we want kids here at school so they're learning what they need to learn as it flows through. So I think this hopefully will, what we've also said, at the secondary level, it's a difference maker for sure. I mean, I don't know if you've all seen it the same way, but I mean, kids do not miss school at middle school and high school because of exemptions. And I can't tell you the impact that has. Will this have the same impact? I hope so. We won't know until we try, but if it does, it will be significant because right now we're not even close to where middle school and high school is on attendance rate, and that our parents are the same, like the same, you know, culture, same. So this is something that maybe this is a difference maker for us. Maybe this will be the thing that motivates them just like it motivates middle school and high school. So,
you know, I think that, you know, as I look at this, I think. You know, we have great teachers here at Bethany, right? We're very fortunate. Dr. Bellows, the team has done a great job of hiring great teachers. And anytime we're out of the classroom is lost instruction time. and that's defined by chronic absenteeism at the state level. So anytime we're out of class, all right, we've got great teachers. Seems to me that the more our students are in front of these great teachers, the better off we're going to be. Okay, so as you all consider looking at different options, whether it's this option or whatever, I feel like keeping the kids in school is going to be your best bet, because that's when the kids are going to learn, is when they are in front of you all. You know, you mentioned that that's 17 days. Well, what is being proposed is that we're to pull kids out of class 4 days. That's shy of 25%. That's a lot. That's a lot. I'm even at the secondary level. I mean, we can talk about all of that. I've made it my voice very much known how I feel about missing days of school. I feel like the kids need to be here. The state sets that number at whatever, 180 days, is it 180 or something like that, for a reason. People much smarter than me are doing that research that says students need to be in class these days. And when I see a proposal that immediately pulls everyone out somewhere between 22 and 23%, I have to ask the question, why? I think you're great teachers. I think we've got great teachers. Let's keep the kids in school. Find something educational for them to do on those 4 days. Have fun with them half the day or something. I don't deal with the parents on the other end that can't drag their kids out of bed. I struggle to think that's ever been the case. Wasn't ever the case at my house. I've had 3 graduate from here. Unfortunately, that may be something you deal with, but I personally don't think little kids understand what absent even means. So that's my thoughts on it. I hope you'll look at maybe some alternatives to finding ways to keep kids in school as much as possible, and maybe even at the secondary to do that as well.
Hey, I didn't propose anything. I'm just sitting here. We did make a change a little bit. We did. We did.
But thank you all.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Item 6, consent agenda. 6A, approve the minutes of the June 26, 2025 regular Board of Education meeting. 6B, discussion and possible action to approve the following contracts agreements for fiscal year 26. A, Mercy sponsorship agreement. B, Section 125 benefit plan. C, Career Tech secondary agreement. D, Rosebriar Place high school prom. E, Bethany Tech Now agreement. F, pre-ETS agreement. G, Arbiter sports agreement. H, work study agreement. I, hearing impaired contractor contract. 6C, discussion of possible action to approve the following out-of-town, out-of-state overnight trips. A, senior trip to Branson, Missouri on May 17th through 18th, 2026. 6D, approve the additions to the following activity funds. 1, POM, parentheses 940, and 2, BMS cheer, parentheses 934. And 6E, approve the financial fund reports.
So a couple quick notes on the Mercy contract. The only difference between that contract this year and last year is that they wanted that to be a 3-year kind of agreement instead of every year. As we were revisiting this with them from last year, very positive, feedback back and forth. They said, can we just make this a 3-year agreement so we don't have to, talk about it every single year? Unless we need to, but so that was a very positive thing for them to feel like this was a good agreement that they would like to see.
Can we do that?
We can have that agreement. Now, again, they can back out, we can back out, but
As long as they give notice 90 days before the renewal, they can back out.
Yeah, my understanding was we can't do one over a year.
You're right. So we're not bound to it, but a lot of our agreements, like our Sodexo agreement, is a 5-year renewal agreement.
But we have to approve it every year.
That's right. So we will do that.
Okay.
What they were saying is we just don't want to have to, are we still doing this? Are we not? So that's what they were basically saying. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. The other one is the senior trip. There's one difference on that. It is actually on a Sunday, Monday trip, and the reason for that change is that last year that fell on soccer playoffs time and could likely fall on that again. And so last year some seniors had to pick and choose senior trip versus that. We hate to do anything on Sunday. I'd be the first to say that. But if it was between that and some seniors having to miss their senior trip because, and our soccer teams are, expected to do well this year, if we're fortunate. But I think that's the expectation that they could end up in the same situation, and we want to avoid that for those seniors if we can. So that's one little adjustment there.
Okay, so starting out with the activity fund, everything is looking good with the activity fund. Really what's going on right now is a lot of different groups are doing fundraisers and stuff because it's the start of the year. And also a lot of different groups are spending money right now, different PTO groups and like fall sports like football. So this is a time of year where you see an uptick in activity. The important thing is that none of the accounts are negative, so nothing's in the red and everybody's doing good there. Moving on to the function summary report. On the function summary report, you'll see down at the bottom around Fund 11 total, the bottom of the first page. This is, I don't want to say placeholder because this is kind of what I'm expecting for the budget to be. A note that I would put there is it's a smaller number than in the past. And I think you guys are aware of this, but there's a lot of federal funds that we won't have that we've had in the past, the ESSER COVID money. And so there's just, Bethany Public Schools is in a great financial position, but we're not receiving the funds we were in the past, and so there is going to be some downtick on spending just because we have to have a balanced budget and keep it in good financial standing going forward. So that's what I would say there. It's kind of a placeholder number, but that's going to be somewhere around the area that I'm expecting when we here in a couple board meetings do a budget book. Let's see, where else? We have a lot encumbered right now, but there's still a lot more to encumber. We will finish encumbering most of payroll in September when the contracts are done, and that's really your biggest encumbrance by far. So it'll be in the range of 13.5 million. Anything else? I think that's really it for the function summary. These are sticking together. On the collection sheet, it's the start of the year, so not a ton of money is coming in. Most of the taxes will start coming in later in the year. One note I would make is that we collected all the prior year federal funds. So those claims have come in. And then lastly, we have not received our state aid payment yet. It's actually kind of weird that typically they do the allocation. The allocation comes out like mid-July, like July 17th, I think was last year. This year it came out last Thursday, so in August, which typically your first payment is anywhere from the 10th to the 15th of the month. So we have not received that payment yet. We're expecting it in the next couple of days, but things have been slow there as far as them releasing numbers. But they have released it now, so we can really get to work on our estimate of needs, which this year is due October 27th to the County Excise Board. That's what I would say about the financials. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Is there anything that you think is going to be way out of proportion to an area that we had last year?
Way out of proportion?
Higher or lower?
Well, so the state aid calculation did come back, and it was $100,000 less than the initial calculation last year. Now, there's two things I would say about that. Well, one thing in particular, they withhold 2% for a mid-year adjustment. So if you in that number, it's $300,000 less than the ending number last year, and that's because they withhold 2% to give you at mid-year when they've got the actual count, because they want to adjust it and make sure you don't end up with more numbers. So it will probably end up being more, hopefully, but we've got to assume that it's going to be the number we got, because you could possibly lose weights. So the weights went down a little bit. The state aid factor went up just a little. The state budget was pretty flat. I think it went up, maybe $15 as far as the state aid factor, what you times the multiplier by. It's really the losses. We lost some weights, so.
And so by losing weights, it's either a result of losing students, total number of students, or weights on those students, or a combination of both, right?
So each student, based on their situation, has a different weight. Like, a student might have, for example, a disability or something that makes that, it's not each student is one student. Like, you could have somebody with a disability and it could be a weight of 3. So we lost 80 weights, but that could be, that's not 80 students in reality. So, and they take that weight, they take your weighted average daily membership, which is your students' weights, they average it out and they times that by your state aid factor, which I believe was 2,150. And that's how you get your number. So that's really the notable change right now. I would also say there was a period there where they froze some federal funding, but they've unthawed it now. So, but those are the two notable things I would say.
Okay.
Motion to approve item 6A for me.
Second. Roll call vote.
Wallstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes. Item 7, approve the general fund change order encumbrances for fiscal year 25, $27,477.47. The general fund non-payroll encumbrances for fiscal year 26, item number 159 through 219, $496,946.30. The fiscal year 26 change orders for general fund, $20,795.42. And the general fund payroll, number 70,000 through 70,261, $1,888,239.55. And the fiscal year 26 building fund non-payroll, number 5 through 11, $328,154.58.
So I'll start out here on the change orders for FY25. So, the last board meeting was on June 26th, and everything's uploaded a few days before that. So there were a lot of these you guys actually already approved. The report really isn't designed to pull it mid-month like that. So there's some, small items that are on there. The golf yearly membership for $3,600 was one that was not on there. The only other two major ones were the maintenance contract with United Systems and then bus repair maintenance for $1,646. And those are things that POs were already open, and they're just, maybe it was more than they expected. On the POs, there's a couple that I would just go ahead and point out and talk about. We're opening a PO for AHI facility service. That's our custodial services. We're opening up one for $383,000 in the general fund. We are also opening up one in the building fund for $285,000. The total amount for the custodial contracts is $383,000. The reason we're opening up 2 POs is to balance the budget. You know, in the past with the COVID funds, we've been able to use the building fund for a lot more improvements and stuff. But to balance the budget in the general fund, we may need to use some of that for custodial services. And eventually maybe even like our insurance, our OSIC premium. It's about $500,000, and it's due in July every year. So that's why we're opening up both of those, so we have some flexibility especially when we get further along in the budgeting, to do it out of, you can do it out of either fund. So that's the big one there, and the total amount that we'll pay them is $383,586, but we're just opening up 2. And I didn't do as much in the building fund because, you know, we would hope we don't have to shift it there, but I think that's probably a reality that we will have to do at the same time. So, other ones that I would mention are PO 197. Just finishing out the year, one of the things that got missed was a PO for middle school desks. And so that's for $10,000, and we want the middle school obviously to get desk 2. The high school and elementary got some. So that's just a larger PO that I would talk about. And lastly, PO 194 for Amazon for $12,000. I know that's a huge amount. It seems like for Amazon, I would, and Mrs. Williams can also, I think, add some to this. What I would mention on that is it's 621 IDEA funds. So there's federal funds that will be reimbursed for that. And, you know, it's for things like sensory items, headphones, Velcro, manipulatives, and I think some of it's blanket for needs that are going to come about.
And we don't typically, I mean, last year we did not spend all of that, but I budget that, and then if we don't use it, nice thing, 621 we can carry over. So what doesn't get used we carry over, but that's kind of the max. I mean, and sometimes it's an adaptive chair that we need for a kid, or something that is not something, you know, just typical. And thankfully now Amazon pretty much has everything, so it's kind of nice.
Sometimes they get overnight shipping.
I mean, sometimes it's adaptive cups, you know, like kids, we have some kids that need certain kind of cups to drink out of. I mean, you know, it's just.
You know, that's been a problem, the overnight shipping for here, but we want them to deliver it during business hours. So don't be surprised if in a couple months you see a PO for a big purple drop box dumpster for them to put it in overnight, because they've switched to some flex drivers. I've actually talked to them. They wouldn't let me talk to Jeff Bezos. But, you know, I've talked to them. It's one of those deals where Amazon's so big, it's going to be hard to get them to change anything.
Right.
So
sure.
We may legitimately have to get a drop box. So I'm making a joke there, but it is
at the front door.
At the front door.
My experience with our Amazon, we put in our operating hours and they totally ignore it.
Yeah, they do.
Basically what's happening.
And when I talked to him on the phone, one of the problems is they have these flex drivers. I actually received a package after hours, you know, at like 5:30, where somebody just drove by in their personal car.
Yeah.
And
I've gotten those too.
Yeah, what the deal is like one of their distribution centers is around Tinker up in Middle City, I think. And if they're on this end of the city, they don't want to drive back, so they're leaving it. They're not supposed to, but that's what they're doing. So those are the notable ones I would just talk about off the top. Do you guys have any ones that you have a question for me about?
Right, 205.
205.
Physical therapist for special ed.
Yeah, so this is physical therapy for special services. I believe you have to offer it.
Yes.
So there's really no, and that it's a blanket PO. We don't know that we will have to spend that much, but it is expensive, so we're starting out.
Yeah.
And we currently in the district are starting out with only 5 students that are needing physical therapy. So it's not a large number of kiddos that qualify, because they have to qualify for that service for an educational need. But we kind of open it that way. it, pays for, and it's much cheaper than having an in-house
Right.
person.
We did not use that much last year. It's one of those things where you open the PO and it's a larger number, just so you want to encumber so that you're expecting that and you can budget for it. type of thing.
And we do have a new PT company that we're going with this year, so I'm very excited. They only work with schools. Actually, the physical therapist and the PTA are both going to be out next week. And they're very knowledgeable in school-based services, which is really nice, so we're excited.
Make a motion to approve the encumbrances as presented.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Walston?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. Item 8, discussion and possible action to approve the revisions to the following board policies. 1 EMDB flags.
So pretty basic here, it's just a rule that was put into place that we have to add this paragraph that basically says that we'll display the flag appropriately and have the Pledge of Allegiance. We already do those things, so this is just a technical thing that was added that we need to have policy to show that we've added it.
I make a motion to approve the revisions to board policy EMDB.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Walston?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. Item 9, discussion and possible action on 11th and 12th grade students receiving credit in math and science for math and science courses offered at Canadian Valley Technology Center.
Just standard procedure, Mr. Jewell?
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, it's what you do every year. I mean, nothing that I know has changed. The only thing that's different is now next to the current 8th graders, I believe, they have to have 4x4. So they're going to be, everything's going to be 4 math, 4 science, 4 English, for history. And so what CV Tech does is the courses that maybe they offer differently than what we would offer at the high school. If they're offering, let's say it's a engineering class, they would get math credit for that, or potentially a science credit for it as well. So it gives them more flexibility to use, and they're all state approved, all Oklahoma academic standards are approved and followed through. Like there's nothing that messes this up. It's just, this is standard protocol from my perspective. But in the future, that we try to give kids that option of CV Tech. It's a great option for them, but we have to have a conversation about the 4x4 moving forward eventually.
Make a motion to approve 11th and 12th grade students receiving credit in math and science for math and science courses offered at Canadian Valley Technology Center.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Walston?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. Item 10, staff reports. Questions or comments?
A lot of new people.
Yeah, good to see lots of new faces.
Yep.
The athletic teams caught a break today with the weather, didn't they? I bet that was
did.
welcome.
They did. Unfortunately, softball didn't catch a break. We kind of fell short. Softball, volleyballs were 1-1 right now. The junior varsity won, and the freshmen lost. Junior varsity won, and the varsity's just getting underway. Yes, certainly the weather for the football team is good, and so we're very fortunate right now.
How are things in your new role?
Busy, really busy. I've told many people it's like a fungus. They say, well, you need to call this person, and I call them, and they go, hey, don't forget to do this, this, and this, or I need you to do this, and do that. And so it blooms into and then those things bloom into other things, and before I know it, I'm going, I need my foot spray or something. Like, this is getting out of control. But no, it's going great. we had our athletics meeting today, and it went. I felt like it went really good. Dr. Bellows was there, and just impressed upon them that we want to keep kids in class. And so when it comes to overnight stays and things like that, I was relating it to that. We certainly we want our coaches, and I told them, I'm here to support you and I'm here to give you what you need to be successful. But ultimately, I told them I'll always support you, but you make my job a lot easier in doing so. If you're a great teacher in the classroom, I need you to be a great teacher in the classroom, and I take a lot of pride in that because I tried to do that myself. I wasn't the greatest, but I worked hard. And my kids came out of there and we didn't have free days or things like that. I mean, we didn't show movies unless they were, well, I showed one, and that was Gattaca because it was genetics, my genetics lesson, and towards the end of the year. But outside of that, we just didn't do those things. But I thought it went well. I got good feedback from the coaches I talked to, and so I'm looking forward to the year. And one of the things I told them, I said, when I got into education and coaching specifically, one of my my old high school football coach who's in the Hall of Fame, he told me, he said, don't ever follow someone who's been successful, because you're the reason. If it doesn't do as good, you're the reason. When you go into those lower performing and you come in and you do a little better, you are the reason that they're doing better. And I said, so that shows you how well I listen, because I'm following someone who we had a historic year in athletics.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, but I said, I just told him I look forward to I'm not someone who likes to rest on our laurels. I want to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. And anyway.
We're in the same boat. So.
Well, the parking lot looks great
Yes.
Yeah.
as well.
That
I
was
knew
one
where
of
to
the
park.
things I forgot to mention. I had it as the header in my notes, and I overlooked it. So yes, 40,000 square feet striped and asphalt. It looks beautiful, and I know folks are happy with it. So.
Yes.
Mr. Bond, we had a patron, a family that striped it for us, correct? Is that right?
What,
Was that
the patron? Was it Miss Fields' husband?
Yes, Jeremy
striped
Fields.
everything else. The striping of the west lot was part of the overall
Contract,
project,
yeah.
and I think Dr. Bellows worked with Mrs. Fields' wife to get the rest of the lot striped to kind of have it match.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll shout out the name of the company too, because Jeremy Fields works for Traffic Control Incorporated, which that's important because that's the company that is also doing that. So they match the striping from the new side with striping the rest of it, so it all looked lined. But I mean, and that's not cheap to have someone come out and do that. And that's not the first thing. It's not the second, not the third. I can't name the projects they've done over the years. The elementary playground, all the paint on that is from them. Just a great partner for us, and has saved us countless thousands of dollars on stuff like that. Looks good.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Jaggers, you saw the street signs?
They look great.
They look really good.
My lasting legacy.
There you go. There you go.
No new buildings maybe, but
That's right.
yeah, they look great. So,
Would you like to stamp your name on them?
yeah. All right.
We've got the first picture up also from the volleyball state championship above the concession stand.
Oh yeah.
The soccer will be going up also, if you want to look at it and see how it looks. I think it looks good, I think. And
Perfect.
we don't have any more room on that wall, so we had to do something,
Yeah.
which is a good problem to have.
Got so many, we had to start moving them over to the other side.
And we'll be doing soccer as well, and hopefully looking at those banners, those state championship banners on the south wall of the gym to move those to the rafters and maybe get some bigger ones. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right. Do we proposal for the executive session? Item 11.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes.
us brought
Oh,
our
it's on the board.
computers back, so.
The record reflect that the board voted to enter into executive session at 7:05 PM and exited executive session at 7:40. The board discussed only agenda item number 11, transfer appeals. No votes or action were taken.
I make a motion to approve the decision of the superintendent to deny the transfer of student A for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes.
Move to go into executive session.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. Let the record reflect that the board voted to enter into executive session at 7:40 p.m. and exited executive session at 9:12 p.m. The board discussed only agenda item number 12, hiring of personnel. No votes or action were taken.
I make a motion to approve the hiring of personnel in addendum A as authorized by 25 OS section 307B1.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the resignations of employees in addendum B as authorized by 25 OS section 307B1.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes.
That was 16. That was,
We're on 16 now.
we're on 16 now.
Yeah.
Right. Make a motion to approve the superintendent compensation as negotiated.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes.
And 17, motion to approve the 25-26 Bethany negotiated classroom teacher agreement.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Pettit,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes. Item 18, information items.
All right, a lot of back to school nights happening now. Elementary school is next week, 8/19. ECC was tonight, middle school is tonight, and then high school will be on the 25th. We also have Friday Night Lights this Friday, August 15th at 6 p.m. And we have a cheer car wash coming up at Aloha's on 39th and Council, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Item 19, board member comments. Item 20, superintendent report.
All right, just want to celebrate everyone for getting off to a great start to the school year with teachers coming in, and just the number of teachers that we have come in before teachers are required to report is always amazing to me. The hallways are full weeks before teachers are supposed to report, and you can see the work in their classrooms. And when parents show up for back to school night or meet your teacher, rooms are ready to go, and it looks like we're ready to welcome kids, and that's very, very important for both kids and parents. So appreciate all the work. I also know this is one of the busiest times, probably the busiest time for administrators as they prepare for teachers to come. And so thank you all for your time and work that you're giving. Don't worry, teachers will take over soon. That'll be good for you guys as well. Also, we have some extracurricular activities: softball, volleyball, cross country, cheer, pom, marching band, and football are underway. And looking forward to, again, Friday Night Lights this Friday. Also, want to commend the principals for the meetings that I've had a chance to go into just already this week. We've really talked about learning and instruction and how to work with students collaboratively so that we are helping them get to a new point. And as I've gone, and that was one of our focuses, and when I've gone into meetings, the conversations that they're having with the teachers have been amazing to listen to, and there really does seem to be an excitement about those types of ideas that they've come up with to accomplish that goal, that are their ideas along with the principals, and just a lot of optimism there. I just love the fact that we're having those conversations about learning and instruction, and really focusing on that this year. So I appreciate you guys, taking that mission and working with your teachers on it. I also want to thank our teacher negotiations team. Once again, they're always very professional. They represent the teachers well. They're a good representation of our teachers, and I can't thank them enough for their professionalism in that process. Appreciate Mr. Mont giving the construction update today. Maybe no one is busier than Mr. Mont and his team over summer. And I know it's crunch time, and I know you get text messages and calls and teachers in the hallway saying I need this hung and things like that, but really appreciate the job that you do, and I was really happy to see how you were welcomed when you went to speak to the staff. I think that shows that they noticed that as well. So appreciate you and all that you're doing and your team is doing. We also, I'm going to present ongoing credit hours that you guys have. Just want to make that public that I will be passing that out to you guys as is required. But and finally, I just want to thank our parents, the foundation, our PTOs. Back to school is a lot of work and a lot of effort, and all of those organizations come together to provide gifts to our new teachers and welcome them with shirts, to provide breakfast, to provide lunch. We have community members, churches, other organizations who are asking us, hey, can we bring this, can we do that? And it makes everything so much nicer when you have that show of support from the community saying, hey, we're behind you, we want you to get off to a good start, how can we help, or can we feed you guys? It's a small gesture, it's not a cheap gesture, but it is something that means so much to all of our teachers and staff. So appreciate everyone in the community who does those things for us and just makes us know that, hey, we appreciate the job you're doing and we can't wait for you to get back to work with kids. So that is my report.
Item 20.